All right, what's going on, guys? Okay, so I was going to post this in my private group because someone had a question, but this is something I get multiple times, literally 7 days a week. So this question comes in every single day, so I wanted to try to address it a little bit, especially for the everyday dog owners out there, okay? So the question I get is, or the statement I get from a lot of people also is, my dog actually listens to me better off leash when we're out in public when he's wearing his e-collar than he does inside the home when he's not wearing his e-collar. Why does my dog not listen when he's not wearing his e-collar? Super common question, literally multiple times every day. So let's touch on that a little bit, okay? First of all, still too many see the tool as a magic wand. It's not. It's just another tool. That's it. If you're a great dog trainer, it can enhance everything. Wonderful tool. If you're a terrible trainer, it will exaggerate everything and the dog will suffer. That's just a fact, okay? Let's look at two major reasons why that's the case, why your dog listens so much better with the e-collar on. Now, a lot of people, especially the wacko side that believes there should be no dog training tools or you should never tell your dog no, is because it's out of fear of not listening. Well, that's not true, okay? That does happen, of course, absolutely, with really bad trainers, absolutely. Think of it this way. The first reason is a flaw in the training. Super, super common. People go about the process in a very wrong way. We're not going to dig too deep into that now because we've done that a million times. But let's look at the most common reason for the average everyday dog owner. Remember, that's who we're addressing this to. Because most people, the average dog owner, has no idea what they're doing. They have terrible people giving them advice, or they go online and get terrible advice, but they do everything wrong, and that's just the truth. When people have a dog that's been even fairly properly trained on the e-collar to the point where you could take it out to a public park with no fences or go on a hike and your dog could be free and is going to come back to you all the time, it's very simple. It's very easy for someone to push a button. Okay, very, very easy. It takes no effort or thought whatsoever to press a button. And unfortunately, sometimes that could really lead to poor judgment because it's so easy. So using the tool when you're angry or frustrated with your dog, too easy to do bad things. And we see it all the time, okay? But on the other hand, why your dog does so much better off leash with the e-collar on is because you actually use consequences. Your dog experiences consequences for your words. What I mean by that is if you're at a park and your dog's off leash and you have an e-collar on and you call your dog and he doesn't come immediately, very easy to tap a button. There's a consequence for not coming. It doesn't matter if it's at a very high punitive level or lower. It doesn't matter. We don't care about none of that stuff at this point. But there's a consequence to your words. Fido, come. Tap when he doesn't come, right? There's a consequence. Your dog jumps on someone or goes to bark at someone or chasing the rabbits. No, and then there's a consequence. Leave it, there's a consequence, right? You don't want your dog to do something. When you tell it no, and it could be any word, I'm just giving you an example. When you tell it no, that marker that lets the dog know you don't like what it's doing, it's very easy to push a button and have a consequence. Makes sense to the dog because they don't understand our language, right? It's a foreign language. They make associations from the thing we say when there's something attached to it. So when the e-collar is on, it's very easy for a person to say no, and when the dog doesn't respond, to tap a button. There's some kind of association made there for the dog. It makes sense, right? So many times, if you tell the dog no or you tell the dog something, it responds, you don't need the e-collar because the dog already knows what comes after. They understand the pattern of the verbal with the consequence, whether that's good or bad, right? So now, inside the home where everything really matters. That's where the behavior is created, right? That's what I've been running my big mouth about for years. Training starts before the training starts. Everything is created inside the home. The good or the bad is created inside the home. That's where you spend most of the time with the dog. That's where most of your interaction is. But now let's look at that same dog. Now there's nothing on the dog. The dog's just loose in the house like most people have their dogs. And now someone comes in and the dog jumps on them and you say no or leave it or cut it out or knock that shit off, right? But there's nothing to provide a consequence for those words. It has no meaning. Your no has no meaning in that case. Your dog goes up on the couch, it's looking out the window and it's barking at people coming down the street. You're yelling at the dog and the dog may stop, but it always goes back to doing what it was doing, right? Why? Because your no doesn't have anything to lead to a consequence. Nothing. Your language means nothing. And so on a daily basis, I'll talk to people and they'll give me a problem they're having with their dog. Your dog won't stop doing this. Okay, what have you done to try to stop it? I'll ask them. Well, when they do it, I tell them no. And I'll raise my voice. It means nothing. Your dog doesn't care about your words if there's no consequence attached to it. Okay, they're not people. They're not children. People have to start to understand that, and the average dog owner does not understand that. All right, so very, very simple. You're doing well outside with your dog off leash. Most people would kill to have that, right? Now, for the people to say your dog's not off leash if it has an e-collar on, don't play the semantics. What does the dog believe it is? How does the dog feel it is? It's not a leash attached. The dog can run free where it wants to go. That's all that matters, right? But now in the house, everything falls apart. If you have behavioral issues in the house, anything, minor or major, the easiest way to fix that is, for one, you have to start being consistent. There has to be something that provides a consequence for your dog when you tell it no. Just like there has to be a consequence for doing good, right? If you use a clicker or use a verbal marker such as yes, and you doing obedience with your dog and you ask your dog for a down and it downs and you say yes, there's always a consequence for that reward marker, right? Food, toys, play, praise, something. Same thing if you're using a clicker. But yet when you tell a dog no, there's nothing there to associate that to the dog that it makes sense. Very simple. Any behavioral problems in the home, keep a light leash on your dog. A thin leash, light leash, 3 or 4 feet so the dog can drag it around, no issues, right? Someone comes in and your dog jumps, you tell it no, and then a quick firm pop on the leash, it's done. Like you folks that have issues with your dogs jumping on people, I can't even comprehend that. That's nothing I've ever experienced. It just doesn't happen. Because for one, we just don't allow it to start. If it happens one time, we stop it. It's that simple. It's that simple. But the second that person takes a step back, now you give that dog that space. That dog just took your space and there's no consequence. The dog learns this is very rewarding. The jumping becomes self-rewarding to the dog. So the dog goes up. If there's a leash on there, no, quick pop, knock the shit off. You move into the dog, go away. It's done. It's that simple. The dog's up on the couch, looking out the window, barking, barking, barking. You tell the dog no. You walk over there, even if the dog stops. If you don't follow through with something at that point, it's never going to stop. So even though the dog stops by the time you get there, there still has to be a consequence for that action that you told it to stop and it didn't. Again, dog's barking on the couch, looking out the window. I don't care if you're on the other side of the room, the other side of the house. No or quiet or whatever you use. You walk over there, you take the leash, firm pop, go, get out of here. You can't handle being on the couch. This is really simple, very common, basic communication so your dog understands. There has to be consequences for doing good. Those are rewards. There has to be consequences for doing bad, right? That's some sort of an aversive. Has to be. Don't ever believe anyone that tells you you can get that all done with rainbows and fairy farts. Doesn't work. Okay, very easy fix. If you're paying a dog trainer and you've been working on this for a long time and it's not done, ask for your money back and find someone that can get it done very quickly, because it's not complicated. Okay? Peace.